Okay, guys, today the lesson of the day is fractionally divided. We're going to talk about division with fraction versus fraction. If you remember on Wednesday we did whole number by fraction division. Today we're going to do fraction divided by fraction. Now, I'm going to give you a model to look at, okay? Now, don't fight me on this. Some of you are going to try to fight me on this, but stay with me here. All right? Let's say I have a candy bar. All right? I've got a candy bar. All right? And I want to take this candy bar. The colors here. I'm going to take this candy bar and I'm going to cut it into 1/2. Right? So I have a half here. Right? And a half here. Makes sense, right? Okay, so I've got my candy bar, I've cut it in half. Now I want to know what's a third of that half. Okay? Now that might sound a little bit weird because you may think that I want to cut my half into thirds. That's not what we're doing. What I'm talking about is my whole, the third is part of the whole. So I'm going to cut my candy bar into thirds. Okay, so I've got a third here, third there, third here. Or I can write down here and I'll show you. This is a third. Okay? Okay? And what we're asking is what is 1/2 divided by 1/3. Okay? So my dividend is 1/2. That's what I have. So look at what I've got here. So how many thirds are in that 1/2? Think about it when you're doing, when we're simplifying fractions, right? If I've got 12/6, I'm asking how many 6's are in 12. This is my dividend, this is my divisor. How many 6's are in 12, right? We talk about that all the time. How many thirds are in 1/2? So look up here at our drawing. Remember, this is 1/2. So how many thirds fall into it? Right? We've got 1 whole third here, and then what do we got here? All right? Well, it looks like the third's been cut in what? In half. Okay? So how many thirds are we saying that we have? We're saying that we have 1. And that third's going to be in the way for me. Okay? So we're saying 1/2 divided by 1/3 is 1 and 1/2. Okay? That's just by this model. Does everybody understand that? I know today some folks were a little bit rough with that. All right? They were trying to figure it out. Okay? Now, mathematically, how would I solve this sentence? Okay? So, we know from Wednesday, whenever we divide, we must multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. And just to remind you guys, reciprocal is when my numerator becomes my denominator and my denominator becomes my numerator, okay, of a fraction. All right, so we swap them. All right, they're going to swap. All right, so let's try to work this one out using our rules of division. Now, I've got two fractions here. I've got the two fractions here. Well, will we ever divide a fraction? No, we will never physically use the operation of division, because when we divide, we actually multiply by the reciprocal or the inverse of the divisor. So, let's look. Do I have anything that I can do for conversion? Remember, conversions are taking whole numbers, putting them over 1, or taking mixed numbers and making them improper fractions. Do I have to do that here? No, I do not. Okay? So let's go ahead and write this problem. Okay? So I know that my dividend, all right, is always going to be the same. That's what I have. Remember, we talked about that. That's what I have. So I have 1/2. Just like up here. I had half of the candy bar. Okay. Will I ever divide? No. I will multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So I can go ahead and make this multiply. Now, we must identify the divisor. We've done this since day one. Some of you were fighting me on this today. All right? Some of you were trying to find the reciprocal of the dividend. It doesn't work that way. We must find the reciprocal of the divisor. Okay? So if I read my mathematical sentence correctly, 1/3, red and red, 1/3 is the divisor. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3/1. Now, am I here? Because that's what we're working towards. We want to do multiply of a fraction times a fraction. Am I here? Yes, I am. So now I can just use this formula right here. So numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. That gives me 3/2. Okay? Now 3/2 we all know is an improper fraction. You're going to have to simplify everything on this lesson and going forward on a test. I'm going to want you to simplify. So 2 goes into 3 one time with a remainder of 1 and 1/2. Okay? And for those of you that need to see it like this, 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. That's my new remainder. That's my remainder because my new dividend, and my divisor stays the same. So 1 1/2. So we got the same answer for both our model as well as our mathematical sentence. Okay? Now, be careful on the homework. All right? Remember what we learned about whole numbers? They have to go to 1. You must ask, do I need to convert first? Do I need to convert my fraction first, or my whole number, or my mixed number? Do I need to convert them first? Do our conversions, and then we go to operations. All right? We will never divide the dividend. Remember, when you get to those worded problems, guys, in the word problems, they tell you what we have. Okay? Look and see what you have. And then they'll tell you what they're going to cut it by. All right? So that's fraction by fraction division. All right? If the model, all right, I want you guys familiar with this model. You're going to see it again. I promise. All right? Other than that, that's the lesson. Remember, homework was page 321, 1 through 10, and page 324, 29 through 36. All right? You guys have a good weekend.
Bye.